Hello from Oregon.
We are the learners and makers.
March 31st, which, like for us, like for many folks, is spring break time. And for us, spring break has meant not much in the way of break. It was like a lot of work we both had to do. We had stuff to catch up from, like bad weather and all this other stuff. And then we had all these plans, and we did a bunch of stuff with our plans. And then yesterday, we're like, you know what? Forget the plans. Tomorrow, let's go to the coast.
Yeah. It was time for a spontaneous trip to the coast.
And it had been way, way too long since we'd been to the Oregon coast.
It kind of prompted us because...
It'd been like a year or something.
Yeah, ridiculous. We came up in like a memory that the last time was a year ago. And so we decided, it's just too long. We live too close to the coast for it to only be once a year.
Yeah.
So we decided, first we were thinking we were going to go south.
Mm-hmm. We thought, like, Coos Bay on the southern coast. It's more of a drive, and it turned out that there were some, like, elevated concerns or risks about, like, sneaker waves, which, if you're not familiar with the Oregon coast, basically means that occasionally some wave will just basically leap out of the water like a horror movie monster and grab you.
No, it's not like that.
It's totally like that.
No, it's more sneaky than that, I think.
See?
Anyway, sneaker waves give me a lot of anxiety. I don't feel comfortable when there's like an increased risk. So we decided to ditch that plan, our spontaneous plan. We ditched, and then we went north instead.
Well, basically we went west and a little north. Florence, Oregon is basically an hour's drive exactly from Eugene. So it's really easy to do a day trip. And then just a little north of Florence, there's this brilliant state park called the Heceta Head Lighthouse Scenic Viewpoint. And it's kind of just tucked in this little cove. You're protected from the wind and whatnot by all these cliffs. On one side, on the north side, you have this cliff. There's this massive, beautiful lighthouse. It's very picturesque. And it's really calm. It's easy for all of us to walk to. Like, some areas of our coast have these amazing dunes. Like, these are the dunes that inspired, like, the book Dune.
Yeah.
But you have to
really
walk
hard
up
to get
a
over.
massive dune to get over.
Walking in sand is, like, very hard for me to do. So,
yeah.
If we find a beach that has a little bit easier access, and this one has a lot of rocks you kind of have to walk over initially, but
you park right there at the edge of the beach. You go over this little rocky area. You're there. It's so easy.
So great.
Yeah. Connor especially is, I don't know, part merman or something.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. He will just run to the water and just like sit down. It doesn't matter that this is the North Pacific. It doesn't matter that it's actually kind of cold.
Yeah. Yeah. Connor loves the water. And the first time, well, not the first time. The first time we went to the coast, he was in the ergo. And he just got his little toes dipped in. But the first time he was like mobile and walking. So you know what I'm going to tell. We set him down on the beach and he just ran towards the water. And this wave just kind of knocked him over.
And then another wave knocked him back over.
And another wave. And Anthony ran in to like go rescue him. And so he's loved the water ever since he was tiny. For him, it's just easier to bring a bathing suit.
Yes.
And we got looks today about the bathing suit because it was not warm.
I half joke that Connor will be the first person to summit Everest bare-chested. this was really fun too because Aster is 4. So one of the things that we are really discovering this year is since both children are just more mature, more capable, it's so much easier to do a spontaneous trip. We don't have a diaper bag. We don't need much. And it's just getting easier and easier for us to think about little day trips around this amazing state we live in and take advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It is much easier.
Yeah. Aster is a little more like her dad. She is not as fond of getting cold. So she got in the water some, but she was mainly wanting to roam the beach and find cool rocks.
She's a little rock collector this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
So she and Connor enjoy it in their own ways. But then there are also lots of times where they'll, romp around together and be in the waves together and just be this cool brother and sister hanging out in the ocean.
This trip, I got to do something new for me.
Yes.
Because I have a prosthetic leg and it has a computer inside of it.
My wife is the bionic woman.
And that means that it can't get wet. I always have a lot of kind of fear around being in watery areas with the kids in particular, although again, because they're like older, it's a lot easier than it was. Yeah. So I just recently got a new pair of rain boots, and I never thought I would be able to get some rain boots that I could get on my foot and that would fit and I could use. But I got rain boots and I was able to just be a little bit further in the water and let the water kind of come up and around me. Yeah. And that was just so nice to not have to worry.
Yeah.
The water came up and touched my boots.
Ooh.
The first time I've been able to do that.
Cool.
It was great.
It was so amazing to see you out there.
The other thing I got recently is a waterproof sock, and I actually did not try that this time. So maybe the next time we go to the coast,
it might be time to try those out.
It will be time to try out my waterproof sock so I can actually dip my toes in instead of just having my feet in the water. Baby steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of what we like too about this area is that it's actually like fairly contained. I mean, it's, I don't know what, maybe 400, 500 yards end to end for the entire beach area.
Mm-hmm.
But there's all this other little stuff around it. Like there's a creek that joins the ocean there. Like you can actually walk back along the creek area a little bit. There's also a trail, like a half-mile trail that goes up from the beach to the lighthouse. So there are these other things that we haven't even done yet at this park.
It's so hard to pull the kids away from the beach. Yeah. And by the time we're kind of done with the beach, we're cold and tired and ready to do something else.
Yeah. Something else that was really fun is that with each child, I try really hard to have little walks, little adventures with each kid. And sometimes that's to help, like, give Jody just a little time to herself, but it's also just to have some of that other, dad and kid time. So today, Aster was hanging out with Jody, and Connor and I, we went over toward, like, there's this massive cliff area that, actually, the lighthouse is on top of that. So Connor and I went over there. It's all just, old lava. And there are these areas where kind of recessed back, and there's almost like these little mini caves. They're not really, I mean, you can just walk in a few feet and you're at the wall, but it does just have enough of that depth and feel to be like, what is this? So Connor and I were walking around the cliff because the tide was, more out and low. So there's all these areas that we could access that you can't when the tide is in. So we're scrambling around some rocks, and he's going into little pools, and we're going back and looking at all these caves, which I'm probably going to have a lot of fun working into stories.
Yeah.
And it was just this really nice time for me and him just to kind of clamber about a little. Once the kids had romped in the water for a while, we all went up. We had a little picnic blanket spread out on the beach to give us kind of a home base. We went up and had a little picnic and just relaxed for a few minutes. It's time to get the kids into some dry clothes. We're like, you know, let's drive into Florence. There's this great little coffee shop that looks out over the Heceta River there. And it's really nice to go to. They do good hot chocolate. They do a good coffee. It's River Roaster.
River Roasters.
River
Yeah,
Roasters.
Connor immediately was like, do they roast rivers? But the kids love it because they get sprinkles on top of their whipped cream. And
so yeah, it's a nice way
we're usually ready for some caffeine at that point.
To a good coast adventure. Cheers.
It was a great little adventure.
It was, and it was a good reminder that travel and adventure can be these fun things that are in your backyard. I mean, this is just a little over an hour from our front door. And it's a good reminder that, yeah, there are the plans and there are the things you gotta do. And then there are the days where you just gotta go with some fun time and have that little trip. You're never gonna regret it. And the other stuff will get done in its own time.
Thanks for joining us today. And thanks for sharing our little trip with us. We're hoping to do some more videos around the things that we are doing with our family, just to share with our friends and families. We are the learners and the makers.
Yep. You can follow more of our adventures on Instagram, Learners and Makers. See you there.
See you.
Bye. Hello, you coming to video bomb?
Ella.
Ella, come.
Yeah, stick her outside.